Hey YouTube, this is Itchy, and I have another incident to report at a nuke plant, this time in North Carolina. There was actually news that came out about this plant yesterday, and yesterday the local news in this area was reporting that radioactive water was leaking from possibly the top of the vessel. And this is significant because it goes directly through the reactor core. The type of reactor at this plant is like the ones in Japan, a Mark I boiling water reactor. So any releases of this water means that it's highly radioactive. Now today there was another report that what they needed to do to determine the source of this problem was actually take the reactor apart, required reactor vessel disassembly. While they were doing that, they found the reactor pressure vessel head had not been fully tensioned, so it hadn't been put on properly. I mean, what kind of clowns are running these reactors? No offense to Miss Milky, but this is absolute insanity. And now, I did a report on levels in North Carolina exactly a month ago. It was actually what prompted me to start making these videos because of this spike here, but this was in Raleigh, and I'm going to just show you quickly the other sites in North Carolina. This is Charlotte. It doesn't look too bad. It's approaching 150 here. Gamma counts are kind of high. And Wilmington, it looks really low, even today. These graphs are updated, I believe, every 30 minutes. And then we have the original graph that I reported on. And as you can see, the gamma levels are really high. So I went over to look. This is where all the EPA recording sites are located, and there's the three that are in North Carolina. These are all located near their reactors. And if we jump over to this map, the one that I had reported on from a month ago where the big spike was, over 1,000 CPMs, is located here, and Raleigh is just downwind of this Sharon Harris plant. But that's not the plant that's having problems now. It's this plant located near Wilmington. I believe it's Brunswick 2 that's having the problems. And then there's one here in Charlotte, Catawba 1 and 2, and McGuire. And that looks like that's in North Carolina also. But when we look at the graphs, you know, they don't show very much. And I came across this article, this is actually from a while ago, that proves that the EPA was rigging the RadNet data. And if you look at this sample graph from Sacramento, you can see where this line is here. This was the Japan earthquake. And this is how these graphs were reading for Sacramento prior to the Japan earthquake. So post-Fukushima, I mean, it's obvious that the levels have been turned down. And this article, I'll put a link at the bottom, this article goes on to say there's a very interesting relationship between this woman, Patricia Bradshaw, who was the one who was awarded the contract from our government to run these EPA graphs. She was actually a former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense appointed by George Bush. So she used to work for our government, and now she's managing the data that comes out of these machines. And we know that out of the 129 graphs located throughout the U.S., only half of them are even working. And this woman is getting paid. In fact, there's a bunch of them on here you want to take a look at. I believe it's $238,000 a year to run these graphs, and that doesn't even include materials and travel and everything else associated that's billed back to the government as needed. So I mean, are these graphs reliable? Probably not, but it's really one of the only ways besides citizen reporters and independent scientists and people with Geiger counters to get a handle on what the radiation levels are. You know, when we find out that they've been high is going to be when kids start getting really sick from this, and you know, physicians start putting this together. But right now the AMA hasn't released any information about it. I know this from talking to my kid's pediatrician yesterday. So the American Medical Association's not talking about it. The Cancer Society isn't talking about it either. And you know, I have to wonder what the motivation is for them keeping this a secret from the public. And what are these graphs really like if they were working properly? So I'm going to keep an eye on what North Carolina shows over the next couple days, especially in the vicinity of this reactor that's now having problems. And I would strongly encourage anyone living in the area to take extreme precautions, since there may be releases to the air and to the water that's occurring, and that's what was indicated by the local news that covered the story there. I'll put links to all of those stories and look them over. And if anybody lives around this plant and you notice any unusual steam releases or smoke or anything like that going on, try to take a picture with your cell phone and send it to me, and I'll put it in a video when I do an update. All right, thanks guys. Have a good weekend.